Good morning, I'm Paul Stolzfus from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and this morning I'm coming to you from Keller Williams Elite right here in the heart of Lancaster County. And today I'm going to kind of talk more on the series of Think Like a CEO. When we look at our real estate business, how are we thinking through it? A CEO looks at the business in a way that, hey, how can I create an opportunity for people within my organization to be successful? And in so doing, the CEO will become successful. Fair enough? So, and Inman yesterday, I love Inman. It's kind of the gossip of real estate across the country. And the article that got my attention was, it was written yesterday. It's Remax Selects finds success with Zillow after ditching Realtor.com. So this is just the article that got my attention, right? I'm not really pointing out any one company, but it's just a good place to get started, right? So I want to talk about what is lead interception, does it work, does it make people money, who's winning, who are the losers, and what does the consumer really want? Because the shift that's happening in the last, it's been happening for a long time in other industries, but we're seeing it showing up in real estate right now, is brokerages are realizing that, oh my, we have been focusing on making the agent successful, like agent-centric, having tools for agents. Technology company have been making tools for agents so that they're successful. Think of it in taxi versus Uber, right? So in the taxi world, if technology companies would have put all their money, and this is all venture capitalists and individual companies, put all their money in taxis and saying, hey, we're gonna make you taxi guys keep your jobs. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to give you technology to keep your cars in shape so that your total cost of ownership of cars is low. And we're going to help you stage at just the right place so as people come out of hotels or convention centers or restaurant, your cars are going to be right there so that when they call you, you're going to be right there ready to go, right? So that would be called agent-centric, like helping the taxi do his job best, right? It's a focus on helping them be at the right time, the right place at the right time, right? Whereas Uber came along and they were consumer-centric. Uber created an app for the consumer to say, hey, this is what I want. I want to ride in 5 minutes, right? And then they made it happen. And we know who won that race or who is winning it. And that became so evident last week or 2 weeks ago when I was in Austin, and you'll hear me tell this story over and over again. I was coming from the convention center back to a hotel where I was meeting Emily from the office, and we were going to go to the airport together, right? So I was walking back, and I had my carry-on, pulling my bumpity-bump carry-on at the sidewalk. I passed the row of taxis. They were staged just the right place, so they're available at just the right time, right? So their company set them up to be successful. They were online waiting for people to come out of the hotel, but they had to stage back 1 block. They weren't allowed to all park in front of the hotel, right? As I walked past, the taxi jumped down and said, hey, I got you, brother, I got you. And I said, no, I'm good. I'm meeting my friend. We have a ride waiting at the door. And he got really upset, and understandably so, because that's his job, right? And he realized what was happening. Emily had already ordered the Uber at the door where she was. Now, for me, it was a little unhandy to go meet Emily, but the taxi was going to come right to where she was, right? And so we passed the oldest industry of car ride sharing around and came right to the door, and Uber picked us up. A similar thing happens in real estate when we put all our money in helping the agent do their thing. Set up the agent to be there just at the right time as people come up to sell, right? And then they disappear. And then when they're ready to sell, show up again. When we switch to help the consumer get what they want, the consumer actually wins. In the taxi world, riders win, and people who are in the taxi world, they kind of lose, right? So people driving that taxi have to decide, do I stay in this taxi company, or do I become an Uber driver? Make less money per ride, but I get more rides per day. So a similar thing is happening in real estate. We're being pushed. We have to do more leads. Like I was talking to someone yesterday, and he said the success of the future of real estate is in volume, right? And I understand that. If you're looking at the way leads are being interrupted or intercepted, taken out, and then sold back to us, we have less money per lead, right? So let's think through what lead interruption is, who are the winners, who are the losers, and what we can do about it. All right? Fair enough? Let's go. So, as always, be open to everything, question everything, and at the end, pull the trigger, ride the bullet. Let's go. So here again, Remax in this article, it's a good read. Look it up in Inman. So Remax tried a relationship with Redfin. Redfin was also a lead interceptor. Leads come down, grab them, sell them back to the agent. And in the brokerage world, the way that looks is leads are coming down, you grab them, and you sell them back to the people who are paying them for you. It kind of makes sense if you're a big broker that you would hire a company to grab the leads that are out there on the internet and then give them back to your people. Either sell them back or give them back to your people, and then it comes out of their split, right? That kind of makes sense. So I want to explain one way to look at how lead interception could work by looking at the grocery store. Or you can probably imagine which store I'm talking about here. So you have a big grocery store that we all spend way too much money at. Or is it a grocery store? It's groceries, it's everything, shoes, clothing, the whole 9 yards. Consumers walking around, they in the old store, actually way back before we had cash registers, we had the local country store, right? You would walk in, there might be some things out in the store, but you might go to the counter and say, hey, Mr. Stutzman, the guy with the overalls or whatever he's wearing, and you say, hey, store owner, I want batteries. And he will go behind the counter and get your batteries and give them to you, right? Well, that seems antiquated now, right? Because we have cash registers. We have people waiting for you to check out. You get your stuff and bring it here. Or we have self-checkouts, right? Or in this case, you could go online and you can drive up and pick it up here. Or you could have it shipped out to you. This will be shipped out to your house, right? There's different ways of getting product. What lead interception is with a website or with search engine optimization, when people are looking for something in the store, someone like, let's say Zillow or Redfin, they intercept the person, they see who's browsing for stuff, right? And this doesn't happen, but I'm just showing you how ridiculous lead interception is. A company would say, hey, look, I'm going to get people with iPads or walking around in Target, let's say, right? Walking around with iPads, and then we see people are looking for merchandise, we'll walk up to you and say, hey, let me help you find what you want, right? And you have your iPad there and say, look, you know what? You don't have to go through the hassle of standing in line and going through a line here. I'll help you pay right in the middle of the store with an iPad, right? Now this would not be a Target employee. This would be like checkoutalone.com walks through the store and intercepts the people that were going to pay in these cash registers anyway. They intercept them and say, hey, great, I know what you want, right? And then they walk you up to the checkout and they say, hey, look, I got a buyer for you. These people want to buy $100 worth of stuff. And so I will let them check out with you if you give me $10 for the referral, right? That seems absolutely absurd in a store like this. But yet, we as realtors are, in the checkout lanes, we have these online presence. We're sitting here when we could be helping our local buyers, be the local expert. We could be doing that, but instead we're lazy. And we buy this service that's walking around our store and saying, hey, Zillow, I will pay you $1,000 a month to send me people who are already going to line up for my cash registers to come to here. Now, what's really happening is, let's say in Target there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 checkout systems, right? We know when people shop, they're going to check out in one of these ways. What an individual realtor is doing by using lead interceptors is saying, hey, look, I own my cash register. It's my own independent business. There's a certain amount of business that will flow through here automatically. I'm not getting much business. So I'm going to pay for these people walking around the store to hook and grab a person and take them over here. Because I have a relationship with this person. Doesn't this sound absurd? I have a relationship with this person, and so that I give him money to bring people that we're going to pay with somebody here, and they'll pay me instead of those people. So what you're doing is literally robbing Peter to pay Paul. and the winner is this person, and I would say the actual consumer probably gets a better experience, right? Because the people walking through the mall here or through the store, they can decide if they want to use this person, or they can decide to use the self-checkout or this, right? For myself, in a grocery store, I still resist the self-checkout, and I'm not sure why. Giant is experimenting with different self-checkout lines. They used to have just a small one. Now they have self-checkout in the belts. Half of them are self-checkout, and to me, that's annoying. I actually want, even though these checkout people aren't perfect, I will choose a manned checkout over self-checkout if the line's not super long. Even if I have just 2 or 3 things, I would tend to stand in line and do this. I don't know why. Maybe I just like people that much, or I don't know. Maybe I'm afraid that the self-checkouts, that I'll make a mistake and set off an alarm because there's these big old red lights here. I just don't want to be wrong, look stupid. So there's a lot of reasons why people choose the checkout systems that they do. But does this make sense? Does this make sense? We know in a store that looks absurd to pay for someone walking around here to bring them to my checkout, but yet we do it in real estate. We pay lots of money for people who intercept our leads, right? So let's talk about what is a lead interceptor in real estate, right? So we understand in the store here. Zillow would be one. Zillow is out there collecting tons of eyeballs and tons of attention and time, and then when people want to see the house, they say, oh, see the house. They see the 3 people on the top here, the 3 agents, and then those 3 agents are most likely to get the leads. We know that. And as time goes on, Zillow will charge more and more and more for those leads and rob more from Peter to pay Paul, right? And so you have to decide, are you going to play this game of figuring out who's the best lead interceptor, partner with them, or hire them, or will you create your own experience that the customer is already wanting and connect it with your people? And tomorrow and next week, we're going to talk about disintermediation and talk about what Keller Williams is doing to be the lead interrupters, the lead interceptor, and giving them to their own people instead of grabbing them and then charging for their own people. Hey Nathan, good to see you, brother. This is a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments if this makes any sense to you. I'm still wrapping my head around this, but the big takeaway is that we are in a shift, in a mindset shift, and I don't know if we as realtors have even learned this yet. We have to think like our consumer and become consumer-centric. To win, we have to be the one giving the consumer what they want. And we've learned what the consumer wants is on-demand information. They don't necessarily need us to be on demand, they want on-demand information. And in a real estate deal, that would mean kind of like the tracking number of a transaction to close. They want to know that, yep, we got an offer and it's accepted. Instead of calling and texting you and going back and forth 5 times in every stage of the transaction, they just want to log in and see, oh, yep, we got the deal, the inspections are done, reply to inspections is done, and all that information is out in front of us. Because who would ever buy a package and not use a shipping company that has a tracking number? The same thing's going to happen in real estate. Whoever provides a portal so the consumer can see every detail of the transaction from transaction to close, they're going to love that. They're going to love that. So we know we have Zillow out there to compete with, but I believe we've got Godzilla. And that's going to eat up everything else, specifically because it is customer-centric. Kind of like Uber, it's helping people buy rides instead of staging the taxis. What we're doing at Keller Williams is helping the consumer get what they want, have a Netflix-like experience, have an app that they can see into their transaction instead of making the realtor at the right place at the right time and being an on-demand agent, because everyone wants more time. Have a good day. Think like a CEO. Pull the trigger, ride the bullet. Peace.